To Kill a Mockingbird, video 8. Well, let's start with a small review here. Remember, vocabulary. First of all, what kind of shoes should you wear when you go through a slop? By the way, pause the video and then you listen to my answer, right? You can answer to yourself. You can answer through the audio in Whats, okay? So my question is, what kind of shoes are nice to wear if you are going through a slop? The answer is boots, probably, you know, those waterproof boots, because you're going to get them dirty because of the mud, right? Next question. What is the problem with putting a lot of books on a thin shelf like that one? Answer: the shelf. I don't know if I said shell. If I said shell, forget it, right? Shell is the thing, you know, you can put to your ear and hear the ocean. That's a shelf. The shelf may start sagging. Okay. Next question. Think about some things that can sag as well. Answer: the most important is the clothesline. You know, the clothesline is like this. When you start hanging clothes, it will sag. A second example, I don't think we have commented the last video, but you know, some people wear their pants way down, and then we call that in English sagging, you know? You can see usually it's boys, you know, I think all the time it's boys, and you can see their underwear, you know, their pants are way down. So just Google it, sagging, and you'll see, if you haven't gotten the picture. You know, certain kind of groups of teenagers, you know? Okay, next question. What can you hitch? Answer: you can hitch, for example, I don't know, a cart to a horse. You can hitch a car to another car that is going to be towed, right? Next question. What and why is a Hoover cart? Why is a Hoover cart? I mean, why is it called a Hoover cart? Answer: a Hoover cart is something very interesting. You have a regular car which would have to have an engine, but probably it doesn't work, so you attach a horse or you hitch a horse to the cart. It's called Hoover cart because of the President of the United States during the Depression of '29 and the subsequent years. Question: are you going to be pleased if a person flick your ear? Answer: no, you're not going to be pleased at all, because flick is like this. By the way, I don't think I put in our list here. No, I didn't. But, you know, it's kind of interesting because I was taking a look at some pictures. In the United States, it seems, if you have that kind of information, please tell me, but it seems they don't play marbles. You know, marble is like those little balls, you know, they're usually made of glass. Boys used to play in the past. I don't think your generation did. Here in Brazil, you get the marble and you play like this. You know, you put the marble here. I don't have any marble here, of course I don't, but I don't. Do I have any like small balls? I don't. But you know, I will put the ball here and then do like this, the marble. I've seen some pictures of people playing marbles, flicking. You know, the ball is here and then you can flick. Question. Next question. How would you feel if you were in sweltering room. How would you feel if you were in a sweltering room? Answer, you would feel terribly bad, right? Because sweltering is humid and hot, right? I prefer to, I don't know, freeze to death than being, you know, sweltering place. Question: is it nice if I tell you that I'm going to give my wife a nice collar? You know? Answer, no, because collar is not a necklace. A necklace is like this, collar is this part of the shirt or t-shirt. Question: what can you do or not do so that your plant will wilt? Your plant will wilt because of what kind of action? Probably because you are not watering your plant. So imagine a flower, the flower is healthy, upright, and you know, and then you forget to water the flower, and then the flower starts wilting. Okay? You are stopping, right? Look, I know when students are stopping or not stopping, okay? So you stop after each question and try to answer to yourself, right? Okay. Question. How can I make a question? How can I ask a question with this? I don't know. Where can you buy a tea cake? And I think that's not a good question, but okay. You can buy a tea cake at a bakery, right? You have the picture there in the list. You know, it's like a flat cake, but that's okay. Question: how often do you bathe? How often do you bathe? Answer: I don't know, maybe once a day, probably, right? When it's very hot, twice a day, or maybe once every other day. You know, every other day. Every other day is one day yes, one day no, one day yes. Because when you bathe, you take a bath or you take a shower. Okay. Oh, you can also bathe in the river. You know, that's important because you cannot say like, oh, I love to take a shower in the river, right? Because in Portuguese we say tomar banho de rio, and then we learn, well, tomar banho is take a shower, so I love to take a shower in the river. You don't take a shower in the river, right? There isn't a shower there and you bathe in the river. Okay, question. If your cake has a lot of frosting, is it good or bad? Answer: it's good, because frosting is that kind of topping you have on the cake. I don't know, mainly whipped cream or any other kind of chocolate or something, right? And the rule, this is a universal rule written in the Bible: the more frosting your cake has, the better. Imagine like a cupcake. I put in our list pictures of some cupcakes, you know? So imagine a cupcake without the frosting on top. Then it's just a, I don't know, it's just a regular cake, right? So you need the frosting. Question. What do we call, this is a vocabulary question, it's kind of cheating in the question because I should create the context, but okay, what do we call that kind of powder you put on a baby? You know, powder, like chocolate powder, gunpowder, you know, baking powder is the kind of substance you use so that your cake will grow. So powder is this consistency, you can imagine it, right? So what kind of powder can you put on your baby? You can put talcum, okay? Talcum. Well, the video is longer than I thought, this little warm-up, but I think it's extremely important. This practice is everything, okay? Remember, we are not in a hurry to go and read the whole book. We are worried and we are concerned about internalizing vocabulary, okay? So I'm going to read the paragraph once more, and let's see if we can gather all we have learned so far. Maycomb was an old town, but it was a tired old town when I first knew it. In rainy weather, the streets turned to red slop, like the north of Paraná, right? Grass grew on the sidewalks, and the courthouse sagged in the square. This is kind of challenging. What do we mean, like the courthouse sagged in the square? So it means that it was in a lower level in relation to the square? Could be, could be. It means that it was not, you know, straight or even. Could also be. Somehow it was hotter then. And then this is kind of interesting. Hotter than. And then we have colon. Remember the two dots we call colon. What we're going to read now is like a proof to say how hot it was. Okay? So I don't know if you tried. If you haven't, please next time do try to read the paragraph without my help. You know, you pause the video, or after watching the video, or before you watch the video, you just read the paragraph. And if you did, I don't know, probably you thought it was a little bit strange, right? Somehow it was hotter than a black dog. And then shouldn't it be like with an A, hotter than a black dog? But then how is it possible to be hotter than a black dog? No, that's not the point. Somehow it was hotter than at that time, colon. And now we're going to see images of a hot weather. A black dog suffered on a summer's day. Bony mules, you know, you can see the bone of the mules. Bony mules hitched to Hoover carts, flicked flies in the sweltering shade of the live oaks on the square. Men's stiff collars wilted by 9 in the morning. How is it possible that a stiff collar will wilt? Because they're sweating, you know? So probably, you know, they ironed, you know, you can iron your clothes, and when you iron them, mainly the collar, it's stiff, you know, it's very needy. No, sorry, very neat. And when you start sweating, it gets wet, and then it wilt. Or they wilt, right? Ladies bathe before noon after their 3 o'clock naps, and by nightfall were like soft tea cakes. So the ladies were like soft tea cakes with frosting of sweat and sweet talcum. Imagine you take a shower or you take a bath, you bathe, right? And then okay, and then you're okay, but then you start sweating and sweating, and you don't want to smell bad, so you use lots of talcum, right? But that talcum, you know, blended with your sweat, you know, makes like a cupcake frosting. So you're just like that, you know. That's how the ladies looked like. Okay. Well, I was planning. No, I'm going to open another video to read the next paragraph.